to be able to see the whole chat. I can't see the whole chat. It's not open. What happened here?
You can just take this one, move it over here.
Yeah, because I can't see all the comments. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, thanks. Okay, sorry, we're live. Good morning. No Name says hey, and Lynn says hi, and Philippa says hi.
Hello.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
Wow, everybody's here now. Whoa. Chat's full. We're moving, and we're off and running. Wow. Whoa. Okay. Good morning. Wowzers.
Good morning. Let me get a focus on those and hit record.
Let's see. How are we doing today? Gail would like to know. Good morning, Gail.
Hey, Gail.
Yay, gouache. I need to try it. Good morning, says Ryan. How did he know it was gouache?
Because I said in the comments or in the title.
Oh, see, I didn't read the title.
You never do.
I don't love you that much.
You don't?
We have an artsy Batbrook that says good morning, and Kennedy says good morning.
Good morning.
And Rue says hello from Poland.
Hello.
Lisa's Creative Outlet says good morning. Hope y'all are doing well. Oh no, it's one of these days.
What?
Why are you doing a wash over the whole thing?
It's gouache.
So what does that mean?
It means I'm going to get the mid-tones first, remember?
Ugh, okay.
Oh, you know what?
What?
Apparently this old brush, I must have used some gold flake. Can you guys see that in there?
Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh.
Can you see it in there?
Oh, yes we can.
Alright, so I can't use this brush.
Oh boy. Okay, give me that. Now I gotta go wash it out to get the gold flakes out. Oh boy. That's like you got an extra.
It's like glitter. Gold flake will get into anything. So if you ever have paint that has gold in it or silver in it, it's got
Put something on that paintbrush that says gold flakes in it.
I'll just clean it. But one day. But yeah, it'll get into all of their paints. So you don't want to do that. So apparently I didn't clean it off. I don't know. There must have been some in there still. All right, well, I will blow dry this in the meanwhile. So, blow dryer, everybody. And for anybody who wanted to know what the picture is that I am working from, it is this. They are an Italian model I follow on Instagram. And I've painted them a few times before.
Okay. I'm going to rinse it like 4 times.
So I want to kind of get back into gouache a little bit, and I've been kind of playing around with some ideas, and so I thought rather than watercolor Wednesday, I would do gouache Wednesday.
Give me that brush. Right here. Yuck.
All right, let's grab another brush.
We will clean that later on the stairs. Okay. All right, sorry for the technical difficulties. Actually, not technical, lack of technical difficulties. Okay. Let's see. Hey, what do I do if my art teacher doesn't like me?
Just make it through the class. I've had lots. I think every teacher I've ever had didn't like me.
That's because you were a terrible student.
I was a bad student.
Yeah.
And that's not true. I've had some really wonderful teachers who tolerated me. But school is temporary. It's just such a small part of your life when you look back. do your best, try to get a good grade, and then move on.
What gouache are you using? What brand?
I always use Winsor & Newton. So, in an effort to speed things up, of course, I'm going to be blow drying a lot, and I'm going to be doing lots of layers. So, my apologies for all of the blow drying.
Good to know ahead of time that there will be a lot of blow drying. Do you have any tips for sketching realistic faces?
There's some tips in the Art Hacks playlist, but essentially it is to find a good photo reference and copy it. That's how you learn.
Do you know any other languages? By the way, hello from Israel.
Hello, no, I do not. I am half Assyrian and half Sicilian, and neither my dad nor my mom taught me. My mom knows Assyrian, but she didn't speak it around the house, so I didn't get to learn. I did take Spanish, but I only know a few phrases. Blow dryer.
Itchy eye, itchy
Okay,
eye, itchy
so
eye.
the light source is coming from over here, as you
Boy.
can see. So the shadow is over here.
You thought I was pale.
Yeah. She's Italian, too.
Oh, no, she's not. She can't be.
She must be Northern Italian.
Oh, well, that explains
Closer
that.
to Sweden.
Ellen is here and is laughed at. I'll just clean it, ... someday. Quincy got a new set of gouache and is swatching it right now.
Oh, nice.
Anne Marie's here and Jamie's here.
Hey, you two.
Hi, friends. What paper is Scott using?
I am using a very kind of, I don't want to say generic, but I think it kind of is watercolor paper, but it is hot press, so it's smooth.
Why are you using watercolor paper?
I always use watercolor paper.
For gouache?
Yeah.
Do they make gouache paper?
No, it's not gouache paper, honey. You've literally answered this question for people. When he uses
Well, why do you call
gouache,
it...
he uses hot press. And when he
Right,
uses...
but why do you call it watercolor paper?
Because it's watercolor paper.
Okay.
Here, I will show you. Watercolor paper. Hot press.
Why don't they make gouache paper?
For all I know, they might. I've never seen it.
Does anybody know if they make gouache paper? I'm not being snarky. I'm just curious. I'm like, I guess I thought it was just, I know there's watercolor paper, but I thought there was just
But you've always answered the question.
paper that was.
He uses hot
No,
press
I know
for
that.
gouache.
But hot press and cold
Is the
press
finish
not
of the same paper.
Okay. But not specifically like watercolor paper. Anyway. Okay. Hey, Scott, when did you start using gouache and what type?
I started using gouache probably around 2014, 2015. I think around 2014. I wanted to teach myself a medium that I
before
could do.
No, it was 2015.
Yeah, so I could do the movie poster.
Yeah.
For Animal Crackers. And I saw Alex Ross used it. I always thought it was watercolor, but I saw that he used it. And so I bought some and just started playing around with it. And it was really fun. It's really fun. But I tend to use it a bit like watercolor, where it's very washy, and then I just kind of keep building up. But I was never taught how to use it. I just kind of figured it out on my own. Blow dryer. I think because she's so pale, I want to give her a very dark background.
Forgotten Doggo, there are reviews on different colored pencils in the products we've tried list on the YouTube channel. So check that out.
And there should be a colored... I don't know if there's a colored pencil playlist. There might be.
Just type in colored pencils and you'll find it. But there's also a list on the resources page of products Scott's tried. Mabel, Scott still doesn't feel like his art's good enough. Mabel asks, what do you do when you feel like your art isn't good enough? By the way, I love your videos.
Oh, I just call that a Monday.
Yeah.
Or any day that ends in a Y.
Peshawa says, hello from Kurdistan. What do you think is the fastest way to learn anatomy?
Figure drawing.
And
figure drawing classes are wonderful for that. And going back to the art not feeling like your art's not good enough, that's just being an artist. You're totally a normal artist. And we never feel that our art is good enough. We have days where we're like, that doesn't suck so bad. But for the most part, we're constantly striving to get better. We see other artists and we go, God, I wish I could draw like that. I wish I could paint like that. I wish I had style like that. And I honestly don't know if it ever gets better or easier. I'm feeling more comfortable with my watercolors right now. Like I feel like I can technically accomplish what I am setting out to do. But now I'm more focused on artistically, what am I saying with my art? And so I think there's always the next challenge, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think we would get bored otherwise if we didn't, figure one part out and then discover 10 more problems.
Say good morning to Santa.
Hey, Santa. How are we doing?
Good morning, friend. Santa did a lovely painting yesterday.
Yeah, it was really nice.
It was so cute. It was a little mouse. It was very adorable, and he was in a little bed. He was cute. Very, very cute. Santa is quite the artist. Could one of the mods put the Discord link in? Because a couple people are asking for that. Is gouache a type of watercolor paint since it's water activated?
It is. It's like watercolor, but more opaque. So it goes on a lot darker. You can use it just like watercolor if you want to. It is more opaque, whereas watercolor is a little bit more or a lot more transparent.
Let's see.
So I find with watercolor or with gouache, it spends a long time in an ugly phase, and then slowly, if you're lucky, emerges from that. And so I just find that doing gouache live isn't that interesting because you get this, when I do the watercolors. You see the inking, and the inking is very nice and it's very put together, and you go, oh, I see that. And then it's just you're throwing color on top of that, but it's within the first 15 minutes you have
know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, it's like a coloring book.
Yeah.
And but with gouache, it's just you have to trust the process, and I'm just kind of laying stuff down and going, okay, and then this is going to be more orangey, and this is going to be more this, and then at some point I'm going to sit down probably I would start with to my left the eye, and then I start rendering it out and then building it out. All right, blow dryer.
How did you design your camera setup? I always feel like it gets in the way.
It is off to the left and up. So it is just to the left of my left eye. It's a little in the way, but everything is angled a little bit like this. So
that's why you see across the desk.
Yeah, that's why you're seeing over here. So my arm, if I'm resting my arms, this is where I am. I don't know if you can see my left arm.
Oh, just a smidge of it. See,
Okay.
just a smidge
Because
of it.
it's actually to the left of the camera, and so let's see this right here. Yeah, that's kind of so. But this is where my right arm is. All of this is because which is past my body, is because the camera's at an angle.
Because you guys wanted to see the palette.
Also, otherwise it would be literally right in front of my face.
That's true. Let's see. Yes, I am tired and I have not even had one full cup of tea, so bear with me on that one. It's in front of me. I just haven't had enough of it yet. Who are you painting?
Oh, this is it's an Italian model I follow on Instagram. And when I say model, I mean like art and photography model, not like supermodel or anything like that. And I like the photo, and I want to get back into gouache painting, and so I thought this would be a good way to kind of practice. It's really difficult to try to learn while also trying to get the likeness of somebody, especially a celebrity or musician that everybody knows. So it's easier for you to practice on just a generic person, or just a person that has good lighting and is so this is kind of like
photo reference.
Yeah, like figure drawing kind of thing, or portrait drawing. You're not focusing on getting the likeness. So I'm not really worried about whether it looks like this person or not. I'm more concerned about the technique, and so that's why I thought I would do this.
Let's see. How do you get inspiration for your artwork?
That's really difficult, and I do have some. We're going to the clown phase, by the way. I do have some.
Yes, we are.
Some videos on that, and so I would recommend looking that up. There are some on inspiration, and there's some on photo reference, and
what do you do?
Artist block.
Yeah. That answers the next question, which is what do you do if you have art block? What do you do if you're broke and you don't have enough money to buy fancy name brands?
Buy a pencil and paper. There's a video on making art shouldn't make you broke. And basically all you need is pencil and paper to become a great artist. The paints are what's expensive. And you don't need to paint until after you learn to draw. So if you want to spend 4 or 5 years just filling up sketchbooks with drawing the world around you, you will become a much better artist than somebody who has access to art supplies, whether through their schools or their family has wealth or whatever, and they paint all the time. You're going to become a better artist because you are drawing the world around you. And I think that is very important to do. So don't let lack of means stop you from becoming a great artist.
Let's see. Shani gave up art years ago and painting was never their thing, but their sister asked them to make some stuff for her wedding. They couldn't do it without the advice that they got from you, and it came out great. Thanks.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. And congratulations to your sister too.
Have you ever ridden horses before? If so, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, we've you go to places and you get to ride a horse. We did horseback riding for our 5th anniversary.
Fourth. It was 4th.
4th anniversary. We went to Disney World. We stayed at the Contemporary, and they had like horseback riding as one of the things you could do, and that was kind of fun, right?
Riv Wilson sent you a tip and says, "Good night, Sava. Super grateful to have these lives to watch."
Oh, thank you, and have a wonderful night.
Have some good sleep.
Hold on. Okay, so I am out of whatever that color is, and I can't read. The writing is so old, so I'm going to try to find that.
How's our day going?
So far so good.
Can you teach watercolor or gouache?
I'm not a good teacher.
Can trying gouache cure or help with a watercolor art block? Does it improve your watercolor skills?
I don't think it does.
Is it harder than watercolor?
It's depends on. It's just a different way of painting. It's like acrylics and oils are different too. It's just different. But I think going back and forth between them is not helpful.
So I'm going to add on to that. Do you think if people are trying new mediums and they want to try gouache, do you think, like, say they've tried watercolor and something else, do you think you should try a medium until you have somewhat of a level of mastery with it? And how do you know when you've gotten there?
Well, I don't think you ever feel like you master it. By the way, I think the color is Cerulean Violet. And I know that's weird because it's red, but
that doesn't surprise me. You sure that's gouache?
Yeah.
Looks just like watercolor when it
does.
comes out of the tube.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think you ever master a medium. I think you feel more comfortable. God, this thing does not want to go on. I think you feel more comfortable with the medium after a while. Mm-hmm. It took me a year of painting with gouache to feel comfortable to make the movie poster. Mm-hmm. And
you were very, very out of your element and out of your comfort zone when you tried gouache at the beginning.
And it took me a while to feel comfortable with it, but I painted probably over 100 paintings, maybe more, over the year. And that helped me, but
quite a few,
it really, doing the work, putting the work in, definitely helps.
But do you think that it was better for you to just focus on gouache to get really good at using gouache and to get comfortable with using gouache? And do you think that that's a good way to do it? Like if, say one of our friends wants to take up watercolor, do you think that they should work just on watercolor and not go back and forth between the two?
Yeah, definitely do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see. This is the Etcher Lab paintbrush, but if you can see, it is wobbling. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to...
Out come the pliers.
Hopefully
he's going to fix it. Either that or we're going to grab a new brush from somewhere else.
Yeah. It seemed to have worked.
I am drinking tea right now. I am drinking the Harrods Strong Breakfast Tea. I'm almost out, and I will be opening up the new Knightsbridge blend that I got in a couple days ago, which was very exciting. I also got in the Coronation Tea. Incredibly disappointing. Scott will attest to it.
Yeah, it was really
It was
bland.
Weak. It was very weak.
The tea that you gave me today is really good.
Well, of course it is. That's the berries tea. That has flavor to it.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff. You have to have the good stuff in the morning if you're going to paint.
Okay, so now I'm going to start with the details.
Well, Echo says, morning, Scott and Donna. I don't do gouache and probably never will, but I love to listen to you and watch you create. You brighten my day. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's so sweet.
Never say never, but, it is, I never thought I would, I will be honest, I never even knew gouache existed until I read Alex Ross's book, and he was talking about how he uses gouache, and I always thought it was watercolors.
What pencil do you use for your watercolor paintings? I used a 2B and it bled with my paint and ruined it.
I used a literal,
Yeah, but that's harder than a 2B. A 2B is a softer lead, so it's going to be smushy.
Yeah, I guess 2B is a little softer, but I used a number 2 pencil, which is like an HB. But, your pencil should never bleed. Are you sure it wasn't one of those graphite water-soluble ones?
Oh, maybe it was. I don't know. Give us a little more on that, Amar. Have you been enjoying Mermaid?
I don't participate in Mermaid. My friend Tom Bancroft created it, and I have never tried it.
Exits here. Okay, so breakfast tea. Do they fit a whole breakfast in a tea bag? You're funny. Breakfast tea is just a blend. It's a strong blend that you drink to start off your day, like a really strong cup of coffee. They have other blends like an afternoon blend of tea, and that is a more mellow type of tea. So a breakfast tea that's a strong tea is going to kind of wake you up in the morning. That's why they call it a breakfast tea. Gets you started for your day like breakfast is supposed to do. And if you're being smarty pants by saying they fit a whole breakfast in, then
So the way I look at it is, this is kind of the foundation. This is the stuff that's underneath the skin, and
that's not how my foundation works.
So this is. Oh, it's turned off. So this is how I. Now I'm going to find my black. So now I'm going to do my darkest darks, which are going to be in the eyes.
So you have black gouache, but you don't use black watercolor.
I don't use black or white watercolor.
But you use black gouache.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I use ink for the watercolor. That's my black.
Touche. Okay, now it makes sense to me. Do you use certain paint to add texture to art in general?
Certain paint to add texture?
To art in general.
Different paints have different textures. The paper can have different textures. That's why I like cold press for watercolor and hot press for gouache. I don't want the texture for the gouache, but I want to see the paint strokes. But I don't add anything to the paint to give it a
texture.
Give it a texture.
I have a question. Is watercolor paint better from a palette or from tubes?
I prefer it from tubes.
I'm assuming you mean from the little squares.
Yeah. I prefer it from tubes because it is economically a better deal, and you get just more paint from it.
Mm-hmm. Santa says the pink nose, Donna's favorite. You'll notice that I just completely ignored that.
My mom hates the pink noses.
Whatever makes you happy. Let's see. I am losing track of comments. Art has always had a history with social commentary. Did you ever feel a moral obligation to create certain art, self-imposed or otherwise?
Yeah, I've made a couple videos on that. Should artists be
activists?
Mm-hmm. And I feel like we should stand up and say things. I understand that people want to be entertained, but it is hard to sit and watch stuff like, anti-gay or anti-trans legislation or taking away women's rights. And I think stuff like that, or racism, it's hard to sit back and have a place where people are watching your work and not say anything. Mm-hmm. It's also a rabbit hole that could completely consume you too. And
correct.
I can't talk about kindness and empathy and just give people a place where they feel comfortable. So it's something, I looked to what Mr. Rogers did during the civil rights, movement. Mm-hmm. People were having, they were like kicking black people out of public pools, and they wouldn't let black people. And so Mr. Rogers had mailman on his show was a black man, and had him come and sit in they had like a little wading pool. And he says, "Why don't you come and rest?" And they sat. And
he said, "It's such a hot day. Come and sit with me and put your feet in."
And they didn't talk about what was going on in the world, but it was just seeing that acceptance and come and sit in the pool with me.
That was groundbreaking for the time.
I think it was a brilliant way of doing it, and I hope I can talk about things in a way that is not political, but also that
he didn't do it to make a statement. Well,
I think he did to make a statement,
but he wasn't overt about it.
Exactly.
He was being
just to show that we're all human, and that and
he was being kind, and yet this huge statement came out of him just showing empathy and kindness to another human being.
Yeah.
And it was a lovely way to do it. Way to do it.
And that's what I think. And some artists are, I'm gonna strip naked and roll around in paint and throw myself up against the thing and say this is the whatever, and this is my political thing. Some people do performance art, and that's their thing. That's not my place.
Okay. What art question have you wanted people to ask you that you haven't answered before?
There's literally nothing. I don't think there's a single question no one has asked me that I've thought of. You guys have asked me a ton of great questions.
Oh, Santa Claus says more than a mailman at the time. Mr. Rogers made him a policeman.
Oh, was it a policeman?
That's what Santa said. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that would even be more poignant because at that particular point in time, you didn't see a lot of black people that were in positions of power, and a policeman was considered in a position of power.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donna is not a green tea drinker. Yeah, I don't. I only drink black tea, and I only drink it straight. I don't usually put anything in it. Do you recommend any cheap brushes for precise work?
For precise work, I don't know if there are too many cheap brushes for that. The ones that I got were from the art store, and they were Princeton Select Petite monogram. This is a 20-0.
Those work really well.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Oops, wrong side.
Thoughts on oolong tea? It's not strong enough for me. Okay. Good grief. Okay. They want to see your reference photo.
Yeah, I showed it a couple times. Here you go.
Let's see. It's Chrissa wants us to switch talents. They want you to try journaling, and they want me to paint or draw.
Oh,
I'm really good at stick people. I'd put Scott to shame with stick people. I'm just telling you.
Some people just want to watch the world.
They do indeed. Affordable watercolor paper recommendations.
Affordable is very, very
subjective.
Subjective. Thank you. For me, I think $15 for the Be Creative sketchbook is a fantastic deal. It's 100% cotton. But I think if you want to spend a little less and get a lot less quality, you can go with the Canson XL. But the quality is really way, way below what you would get from this. I would spend the extra few bucks.
I think you've become even more obsessed with paper over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I think
it makes such a huge difference.
It does. It makes a huge difference. I will go back again to seeing the Crayola paints on Arch's paper. Just blew me away. Really blew me away.
So when you guys watch me do watercolors, I'm very specific I'm very confident in where I put my colors, and it's very loose, and it's like I may not like the subject or how the likeness might have come out or whatever, but for the most part, the paints are the easiest part. When I do gouache, right now, I'm like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. There's nothing good about this.
Let's go with stinks.
Yeah, but it has such a long, ugly phase, and it feels like all of it is trial and error. Like every brush stroke is, nope, that's not what I wanted. Nope, that's not working. And so I think that would go away if I was to go back to doing this every day, like I was doing, way back when. I was feeling a little more comfortable with it. And but right now, just know that this is just painful for me to do. And but I'm hoping that it'll come back around.
Okay. Scott is painting an Italian model that he follows on Instagram, and we do support the LGBTQIA community.
Speaking of which, I need those hair journals so we can go take. They gave me the address to drop it off.
When were you going to tell me? You never told me to put the things together.
You literally went out there and counted them. I thought you were going to grab them.
No, you just told me to count how many we had. You didn't say count them. You said count them to make sure we have enough to give them.
Yeah, and then I said, I think we have enough to go.
No, you never followed it up.
Blow dryer.
And you put them in a seat. See what happens? This is what happens. This is what happens. I'm not letting you off the hook. You can blow dry for 20 minutes. I can keep going all day long. I'm like an elephant. We never forget.
You forgot to put those together, didn't you?
You never told me to put them together. You said, go see if we have enough. I said, we have enough. You said, great. And then you never said,
no,
put them together. We're going to drop them off.
Put them together so we can go drop them off.
No, you didn't. Yeah. When did you say that?
Right after you said.
You're so full of crap.
No, you just don't remember.
No, I remember everything. Especially when you ask me to do things.
Who's the elephant now?
Oh my God. You never asked me. It's the same way you're like, your mom goes, didn't Scott tell you this? 35 years. If you want me to know something, tell me, because Scott will never tell me.
No, I just didn't care enough to remember then.
You also didn't care enough to remember to tell me to put the things to the side so we could take them. Lord have mercy. You people see what I have to deal with? Scott has not tried calligraphy, but he has tried a glass dip pen. There are so many tips that you can check out in the Art Hacks playlist that apply to both seasoned artists and young artists. Scott will never paint on wood. He has no desire to do that. And things out in nature that Scott's going to draw, he's only going to draw things like someplace where we go. I am drinking the Harrods Strong Breakfast Tea. Santa would like to know what the method/technique differences are between watercolor and gouache.
For the most part, with watercolor, you're going to always go light to dark. With gouache, and there's no right or wrong for this, but with gouache, I like to go my midtones, my darks, and then come in with the lights at the end. And because it's an opaque medium, it seems to work better that way.
A good sketchbook recommendation for ink.
For ink, when I do the ink monsters with Kim Diaz Home, mm-hmm. I've been using, and it's in my art supplies list, but I've been using this Lennox 100% cotton paper. Oh my God, it is like so nice. It is like you touch it and you're like, this is too nice to draw on. That's like the nicest thing I've ever drawn on. That's what I've been using for ink. which is not very often.
Let's see. Do you ever outline your gouache paintings with your zebra brush pen?
I did once, and I actually liked it. I'll show you which one it was.
Tips for drawing realistic eyes. They are in the Art Hacks playlist. There are faces and eyes and ears and all sorts of different things.
So here, I'll get the original so you can see it up close.
Scott has used acrylic markers. You can see him use those painting on the records that he did.
You cannot do inks first. You have to do the inks last. So, I don't know. Can you guys see it, or is it blurred?
It's okay. It's a little bit hard to see.
But you see, I did the inks over the gouache, which was interesting.
I don't think you can tell that it was over the gouache.
But I'm just saying it has to be because the gouache will be.
It'll cover it. It's thicker.
It's opaque.
Do you need more water?
I got my bottle of water here.
Okay. You give lots of art blocks / advice for new artists starting out. How about a lifelong artist that has become burnt out and lost the love for painting, trying desperately to get back to doing it regularly?
I would say the thing that worked for me is because I took 10 years off, and then because I was doing colored pencils, and then I decided to teach myself watercolor, and then after a few years of that, I decided to teach myself gouache. Try changing mediums. That seems to help, or at least it seemed to help me.
Mm-hmm. I am having an autistic meltdown / anxiety attack this morning. Have you ever had one like that, Scott?
I have, but because I was undiagnosed, I didn't know what it was. And, I just, things didn't work out, and we had plans, and the plans changed, and I freaked out, and basically...
Literally freaked out.
Yeah, but basically for me it was, stop being a jerk, Scott, you're being a jerk, and... We had traveled somewhere, and things were not going according to plan, and it made no sense to me, but we had our boys with us. Yeah.
And I just about slapped him and went, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you better get your act together really fast, because we've got little kids with us. So
we had traveled to Spain, and the room wasn't the right room, and we had a very long train ride, and everything was just, and I was just done, and I was just like, I'm ready to go home. And again, it's really different when no one knows why you're having a problem with that, and including yourself. So, if
I think had we known, it would have been different, and I would have treated you differently.
Yeah, of course, but
we didn't know at the time.
That said,
that was hard.
Yeah, I hope that you can find some comfort today, and you can get through it. And if you want to just hang out with us, you're welcome to.
Be kind to yourself. It's not easy.
I switched over to. I wasn't happy with how the round brush was looking. It was just looking too spotted. So I'm switching to a flat brush to give it more of a chiseled look, like I'm sculpting. And so sometimes just changing the paintbrush can help.
Yes, Janet, I have tried Tea Forte. I have actually tried those. I've gotten away from tea bags, and I only drink loose tea. A lot of tea bags are made with plastic, and when you put the hot water over it, then plastic particles that are microscopic get into your tea. So I have gotten away from all tea bags, and I only buy loose tea now. But I have had Tea Forte. Have you tried the tea-infused chocolate yet? You know what? I haven't tried that yet. It is in my stack of things to try, but I've not tried that yet. Do you have any suggestions on replicating something in a drawing? I am currently drawing a horse right now, and I'm really struggling with the hooves.
I'm assuming you're looking at a photo. If it's possible to find a photo that's in the right position that you need, copy it. And if you're still having a problem with that, try tracing it.
Rib says, as a gender diverse person, your channel and community feels like a personal wading pool of sorts. Assuming I understood it correctly, it's nice to have welcoming spaces.
Oh, you are always welcome here.
Yeah.
Always.
You are safe with us, and you are more than welcome here. Everyone's welcome here, unless you're a jerk, in which case you're not welcome. We want everybody to feel safe and welcome. I've seen people committing vandalism on the Museum of Prado here in Spain as a way to manifest against climate change. The reasons are great, but the way to act is not kind. What do you think?
Yeah, I the ones who are throwing paint and stuff like that, I think if you're going to vandalize something, which I don't condone, but if you are, vandalize the corporate people, the rich people,
Yeah,
the ones
go to
who
the
are,
corporate offices of like Shell
yeah,
and
the ones who are
Exxon.
doing
And I mean,
the
come
stuff.
on.
Don't go to a museum.
No. The reason they do it is because it's so widely known. Like, let's go to the Louvre and throw something on a painting. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And look, people know about it now.
They do.
But the point
do.
is that it's still the wrong thing to do.
Correct. Yeah.
It's still the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
And
you have to understand too, bringing awareness to something is important, 1,000% important. However, destroying a priceless work of art in the process.
And so far to date, I don't think anybody has destroyed anything.
No, they haven't. But they've started putting glass and plexiglass over the paintings.
What bothers me is the possibility that I might not be able to bring my watercolors into a museum because people are going to be worried that, I might throw something. And that's
you can't anymore in a lot of places. You're only allowed a pencil and a sketchbook now.
Yeah, you start to hurt other artists.
I love the paint palette. Where did you get it from?
This is a San Francisco slant palette. I've had it for years.
So wait, did you have the same palette for the watercolors?
Yeah.
Oh, so you bought two of them. So you have one for gouache, one for watercolor.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then I got this little one because I kind of spilled over into a, I bought so many different colors of gouache. Unlike watercolors, I don't use just, I blend my colors, in other words. And so I treat it much differently.
Is the top palette a blend of colors?
No, it's just additional colors.
Okay.
But yeah, you can find it on my art supply list.
You said that your favorite Overwatch character is Reinhardt. What do you think would make a perfect live action Reinhardt?
Oh, like what actor?
The Rock.
You say The Rock for pretty much anything.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if I could think of any actor who would embody.
I just told you.
Yeah, you don't know who Reinhardt is.
It doesn't matter. Nikki says, I saw an article today that a student, quote, destroyed, unquote, an art installation in Seoul by eating it. It was a banana taped to a wall. You guys know
that I actually don't have a problem with.
You guys know what I think about that. You know what I think about that. It's like if you're going to tape a banana to a wall and somebody's hungry.
Okay, they said, quote, destroyed, but I think the quote should have been around art. Destroyed a, quote, art piece. So now I'm adding some cool colors into the shadows. And I want you guys to see if you can see the cool colors in the shadows. Can you see the purples and the blues in here?
No. Not in that. It's hard to see.
You can't see those? There's teals, purples, and teal.
Okay, see purple. I don't see teal anywhere in there. Do you guys see purple or teal? I mean, I see purple around the nose, but I don't see teal anywhere.
That's warm colors, right?
Yes, I see that.
Here's warm colors.
Yeah.
And then look over here. These are cool.
But I don't see teal.
You don't see the teal in the skin right there?
No. I see purple. I do see purple. I see a little tiny bit of blue, but I don't see. No, I don't see
Okay.
teal. That's just me. It's just me.
I'm not upset. I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not upset.
Let's see. What are your thoughts about Japanese art?
I think it's grand.
I liked The Wave is my favorite. I love that one. It's
Hokusai's.
Yep. It's nice to see the older generations supporting LGBTQ. We are the older generation now.
We are the generation that grew up with the AIDS epidemic.
We did.
You know?
We did. Yep.
But yeah.
Uninvolved parents for the most part, and yeah.
Yeah, we definitely do support it.
We do.
And,
we do. We want to stand beside all of you youngins. And, you know, a lot of people in our generation just don't care. And I can say that because a lot of people are apathetic. They have been, like, the entire time we were raising our boys. I would go to meetings. I would fight for things that were important for the school and for our county and for our district. And I've always been very, very politically active. And people are just, my age, are just very apathetic. And I don't understand it. It's always bothered me. And seeing the younger generations become so involved and so wanting to change things for the better makes me tear up a lot of times. And it makes me sad that my generation still refuses to stand up and say, this is what's right and this isn't what's right. They just don't care a lot of times. And it's very frustrating.
They should know better.
Yeah, they should know better. So, you know, it's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but it's going to be what it's going to be. So, what kind of car do you have? It's so pretty.
Oh, it's a 1967 Mercury Cougar, XR7.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I call her the girlfriend. Has Scott watched Superman and Lois?
Oh, you know what? We have been watching it. We haven't.
Is there another season?
Yeah. I mean, I think we never finished. We never finished it.
The first season, yeah. We did finish Picard, though.
Yeah.
And it was glorious. I know you've done digital art before, but have you ever thought of trying to pick it up again?
I have. I've been considering it. I've been weighing my options.
Weird question. Can you use any liquid for activating watercolor or gouache? It is not a dumb question. There is no question that's a dumb question.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can.
But it's just water, right?
Yeah, I would probably stick to water if you can. I mean, you'd have to look and see what different materials are going to, different liquids are going to do.
Hot press paper is smooth and cold press paper is bumpy.
Yeah, there's a video on that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which type of art, according to you, is the best for children to learn?
Realism. Learn to draw the world around you.
Zebra brush pens and Fudenosuke pens are not the same. They are different types of pens. Different brands. Has Scott ever got CBD recommended or tried it for autism?
Oh, no one's ever recommended it.
That's not true. Harry did.
Not for autism.
That's true. What was for your IBS?
Yeah. We tried it for my stomach, my panic attacks. It didn't really work.
Gave me a giant
headache.
No, it closed up my lungs. I was on all fours in the bathroom, closed up my lungs. It was not good. Yeah, Donna won't be doing that again. Please answer. I'm very desperate. I need to know how the music works on shorts and how to avoid copyrighted. Thank you so much.
For shorts, you shouldn't have any problems with copyrights. It won't affect anything. It'll monetize it just fine.
What's the best drawing exercise for painting expressions?
Practice. Find there are models and whatnot who will post different expressions, or I would pause a movie and practice that. But there's a lot of wonderful reference that you could use, and just draw. Fill up your sketchbooks.
No way who called them old. Guys, we're 53 and 54. It's okay. We can be the older generation. I'm okay with that. I'm just giving you a hard time. It's fine. Let's see. Do you think art school is worth it? Or can you list some pros and cons? Catherine would like to know.
I will list the pros and cons. So the pros are, if you are good at school, if you are someone who likes structure, who likes teachers, mentors, learning stuff like that, then I think art school, a good art school, is absolutely a wonderful thing. If you are someone who is like me, now I went to art school, I just wasn't a good student because I'm not very good with that kind of thing. Or at least I wasn't when I was 18, 19 years old. I didn't benefit. I mean, of course you benefit in some way, but I didn't benefit in the way that I could. That the other students excelled and their work really flourished. I didn't. I was very stagnant. I kept doing the same thing I wanted to do because I didn't want to learn watercolors. I didn't want to learn acrylics or oils. I didn't want to. The only classes I really kind of liked were figure drawing. And sometimes my illustration class because I could do my colored pencils. And so it wasn't for years later that some of it started to seep in, and then I taught myself watercolors. I taught myself gouache. And so a lot of the stuff is self-taught.
You also slept through art history.
I did,
but
and
now,
then now I'm really interested in it.
Now we're interested in art history.
The thing is that some people are built for schools, some people aren't. You have to know what kind of person you are. And the thing is, after 53 years, other than applying for a teaching job once, no one's ever asked me for my degree.
Yeah, but it does depend on what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think I do think it's important that you have a degree now. I think most places that you go,
Not
I think
in
it's
art.
just, it doesn't have to be an art, no. But I think a degree shows that you have stuck with something. And I think that's what people look at. I think that's what people are looking for. Do you have any advice on how to make student art supplies look professional?
Good drawing. The supplies are going to be the supplies, but if you have a good drawing, it'll be fine. So you can see that it's slowly kind of piecing together. I will smooth edges with brush strokes, but I want it to, what I'll do is to smooth that hard edge right there. I'm going to, and I don't know if it's going to work on this one. I don't know, but I'm going to take a little bit of this and I'm going to go over it like that maybe. But that was kind of two tones and I don't know why.
Because the underneath one.
Yeah.
Did you dry it?
Yeah. And then I might come in with a little bit of this. I don't know. Nope, don't really like that. So I might do that. And then I might go, that's a little too light. But I know it's gonna dry up. It'll darken up when it dries. But you start to then find your shapes with the paint strokes, and that makes it look impressionistic. It makes it look like it was done on the fly. Like that person they're just throwing paint around and they just left that paint stroke. No, you're kind of coming in and you're filling it with some style. And that's why I like the flat brush.
Interesting. Lula likes all the tea and art talk this morning. And if you haven't checked out the Tea Foundry, Lula has the Tea Foundry. She's got some really great tea. I highly recommend the Scottish breakfast tea. That's my afternoon blend, and I need to buy some more actually. Yeah, Santa had said no vandalizing art. That's on naughty list thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why people would want to do that. But Scott stands up while he paints because he has back issues. So
Old man back issues, apparently.
And he doesn't have back problems from all the drawing. He had back problems from when he played hockey. So, and Donna does not do art. I journal, so I write, but I do not do art. What's your favorite art pieces by famous artists, if we have one?
I don't know how famous he is, but my favorite art piece is Spring by Sir Lawrence Amatadima.
Yeah. Mine is Wander Above a Sea of Fog. And Caspar David Friedrich. One day I will see it in person.
Where is it again?
It's in Hamburg, at the museum in Hamburg, Germany. Scott does not play any musical instruments. Suryanch, I just butchered your name. I'm so sorry. How can this person paint loosely?
Oh, how can they paint loosely? Like I said, I mean, there are tons of schools of people who they paint loosely and they teach that. I did not learn that. I'm self-taught when it comes to this. So the way that I do it is I just kind of rough out. If you go back and rewatch this, the live, you'll see that I kind of roughed out the colors, the shapes, and then I just started adding to it, building it up, and I think there's 101 ways to do this. So my way is probably not the best. There are tried and true old masters ways that is probably much better. And if you look at I'm sure there are videos on like oil painting, speed painting, and I think you might see something that might really help you out with that. But my style is just bleh. I'm just figuring it out, and I haven't done gouache, seriously in years. So I'm so rusty, and I am so I feel like Quasimodo. Look away.
Is there any way to paint without an outline?
Yeah, that's those speed painting artists. They do that. They work in value, and they're amazing.
What's your opinion about NFTs, please? Are they a scam? I'm getting loads of messages about NFT.
I just to understand them, I took some of my art and I put it up as an NFT, and just so I could understand it. And I think I lost like $50 just trying to get the thing set up.
Yep.
So I think it is a scam. But
in your humble opinion,
that's what I said. I think
let's just be clear.
But no, I from everything I've seen, everybody who's ever reached out to me, telling me, that that they're doing this and they were whatever, has lost their money, and I don't know. I'm not really.
Scott's not a financial advisor.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is the most important thing in art that you always need?
hope. You need to believe or hope that this time I'm going to do something that looks nice. Because without that, I would never draw again.
You're funny. Let's see. Nope, we only have one Discord. If you look in, there's a bunch of animals that Scott did. There's a National Animals playlist, and that will show you how to draw fur.
There's a video on how to draw animals too that I talk about the book.
Would you consider doing photography again?
Oh, absolutely.
Scott doesn't use oil paints, by the way.
Yeah, I'm going to bring my camera with me everywhere. I'm trying to, over the weekend, I was kind of learning a little bit more about my camera and some of the settings and just trying to become a better photographer.
The art supply list is on savaart.com, and it is resources and Scott's art supplies. Yes, the palette is plastic, and Scott bought it, I don't know, 100 years ago. And he doesn't use oil paints. That is a Bethany Primrose kind of thing. Is it okay if you cannot draw people for the life of you, but you prefer to draw animals only?
Oh, totally fine.
You do you. Do y'all have favorite types of pens?
I like the zebra brush pen.
Mm-hmm. I like a fountain pen. How long will the video be? We're here for another 20 minutes. So we're here for 90 minutes, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Why do you all go silent for the clock?
Oh, I think it's out of respect for Mr. Clock.
Yeah, we love Mr. Clock.
Plus people like to hear the clock.
Yeah, they don't want us talking over the clock. Our day is going okay. It is 10:09 a.m. for us. I'm a starter artist. I've been following your journey, and I'm wondering how to start out as a passionate and faithful artist.
I think a great way is to draw the world around you. Just start to see the world, see the beauty in the world, and document it. Collect it, you know? I sometimes think of myself as a collector. You know, I walk around or I go places and I collect. I like this, and it's now in my sketchbook forever, you know? I now own that kind of thing. And I think it's kind of a fun way to look at things.
Scott does not make art of himself.
I only draw pretty things, not ugly things.
I do know Roy Boost Tea, the only... I've had one in my life that I've enjoyed, but I don't enjoy that either. Isn't journaling and writing art, though? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
How can I learn shading and lighting?
Observation, sketching. You're looking at the world, you're studying. It's the same way anybody learns anything, is by observing it, participating in it, put the time into it, and you will, I don't want to say master it, but you will understand it a little better.
How do you feel about drawing and painting your feelings if you're having a hard time talking about them?
I've never been able to do it, but I think it's wonderful for those who can.
Mm-hmm. I write feelings in my journal. Donna, do you sometimes clean up Scott's mess? Yes. Like 35 years worth of messes.
What
yes.
are you talking about? I'm a very clean person.
Oh my God, try to say that with a straight face, buddy. Jeez. How can I train myself to see color and to exaggerate them like you do?
I think what you do is do it enough, and then start to, like if you see I'm using cool colors in shadows, and you like that, start doing that, and then you'll start seeing it in the world. I think people who see warm colors in shadows start seeing warm colors and shadows. I think it's just one of those things where you kind of start to train your eye to see certain things. That's how styles are born. Is you got to start with you copy it from somebody. You can copy it from me, or you can go and study some impressionist, post-impressionist artists.
One of the masters.
Yeah, anybody who does something not realistic, and see how you like it. But you got to kind of you got to steal like an artist.
Steal like an artist. You're funny. How do you decide what references to use and what medium to use?
In this case, I was looking for something with some definitive lighting. It's not like strong cinematic lighting, but it is, you can see the definite lighting from left to right. And I just thought it would be fun to kind of draw. And I like that for gouache. I like shapes. You want to see shapes. You want to feel the three-dimensionality of something. When I do watercolor, I'm looking more for design.
What are your favorite things to draw?
Like hair.
Do you
I like places that I travel to.
Do you have any tips, please, for approaching a brief which is not inspiring you?
A brief.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
Have you watched The Social Dilemma?
Social Dilemma?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I know what that is.
What was your first job?
Like first job as a kid?
They just asked, what was your first job?
I don't know, maybe a paper boy? Which is ironic.
It is ironic. Let's see. Who holds your camera doing shorts?
Oh, that would be Donna.
Mm-hmm. If you see the camera following behind him somewhere, that's usually me. A lot of times if we're with the animals at the zoo, we have to position it on a tripod because the animals can be skittish. And so we're told which animals are skittish and which animals are not. And if we can move around, we move around. But a lot of times they have to be stationary for that type of thing. So we don't...
Oh yeah, we're going to go see...
Betty White.
Yeah, a 24-year-old rhinoceros
iguana
named Betty White.
Mm-hmm. We will be meeting her tomorrow. Yep. Yep. Indeed, we will. Indeed.
All right, so again, it's pretty much impossible for me to finish an entire painting in gouache in 90 minutes. I'm doing my best, but it is very, very rough. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I don't know if I'm going to finish it afterwards, or if I'm just going to just leave it. But
Scott is drawing an Italian model that he found on Instagram. Megan says, no vandalizing, period. It makes me so angry when you go to historic places, old churches, and there's writing or carving in them. First, it's against the law, and second, it's super disrespectful. I agree 100% with you on that. 100%. Have you ever painted hybrids, like half human, half animal, or some mythical creature? If no, would you ever try?
Oh, yeah, totally. I have many times.
Bethany says mood thing. I think a lot of the things that Scott paints in the morning that you see are definitely mood things. He does not plan ahead what he's going to paint. There's no calendar. There's no... I tried to get him on a schedule for that. There's no calendar for that. He just paints what he feels like painting. Our next live stream is Friday morning at 9 a.m. same time. Do you think art school is a waste of time and or money?
I answered this earlier, but
Art school is expensive.
Yeah, the short answer is if you are somebody who is good at learning from teachers and from mentors and you like structure, then art school is not a bad thing at all. If you are somebody who cannot learn like that, then I wouldn't waste my money on it. You do not need a degree to get a job in art.
It's nice to have, though. Just saying. Are there any artists in your family?
Yeah, my mom was a fashion illustrator.
So many artists in his family.
My uncle was an illustrator, and their uncle was an artist too.
Is it okay to outline your watercolor with black color? I did it before.
Yeah, sure. It's okay to do any of that stuff.
Do you prefer your plastic palette for watercolors?
Yeah, I have a plastic palette for watercolors and a plastic palette for gouache.
What so far is the best art that you've done in 2023?
Gosh, in 2023? Let's see. I saved all of my favorite ones so far. Let's see.
Ooh, who's directionally challenged? That would be Bethany Primrose. Yes, the Discord has a general chat. But there are specific channels in there talking about specific things.
These are my favorite ones I've kept. It was this one from the Mary Shelley one.
Be careful, those are all wet. Yeah.
Kiss. And Fairy.
And that one you can get by donating to Rare.
Not the original.
The high res version of that scan. If you weren't an artist, what job would you have?
I'd like to think maybe I'd write music, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe a game designer.
As a relatively broke artist that only owns sketch pencils, and borrows paint and other materials from other people, if I want to paint, is it worth it to invest the money in getting paints, etc.?
I would say if you're broke, I would put my money into sketchbooks and travel. That's what I would do. You know, like I wouldn't waste it on paints. I would just, you know, grab a sketchbook and see the world and document it. Live that life, you know, do that. That's what I would do. And even if the travel is just to the next city or another state or, you know, whatever you can get to on your budget, that's what I would do. That said, when you have money and you want to learn to paint, do it.
There's always paints that you can try too that are cheaper paints. And you can try those. And
you know, when I first tried watercolors, you know, like actual, you know, sit down, I'm gonna try watercolors. I'm done with colored pencils. I tried it on Bristol board and I just didn't like it. It was just bad. And I was posting to a art board and you know, we were all posting our art and we were giving, you know, like weekly challenges or whatever it was. And someone says, you should try using watercolor paper. And I was like, oh. And as soon as I did, everything changed and I wound up liking it. So a lot of times you might try something and it just doesn't work the way you think it's supposed to. It could be the materials. So, you know, while yes, you know, you might need to try cheaper materials, factor in that sometimes the cheaper materials make it not fun.
Many people in the UK are divided about the King's coronation on Saturday. What do you guys think about it?
I think his tea was bland.
Scott's exact comment was, the tea is bland like him.
Blow dryer.
I've always been an Anglophile, so I have always loved all things Britain. The monarchy intrigues me. I have read Prince Harry's book. I don't know. They just intrigued me ever since Princess Diana was around. It's always intrigued me. And I know everybody has their own opinion on it, but I'll be getting up to watch the coronation. I will not be drinking the coronation tea because it's going to be really early my time, so I will need something stronger. But I don't know. I'm intrigued by the tradition of it all. I'm intrigued by the whole thing. I think a lot of the younger generations don't feel the need for the monarchy, and I understand that too.
I think as I've gotten older, anytime like when we go to Venice and we see these churches with the gold and the the money spent, and you go, why wasn't this spent on the poor?
On the people.
Why wasn't this spent to help people? Why are there hungry people while you guys are sitting on golden thrones?
Yeah.
And I think that will always sit with me, where I can't appreciate a king or a queen and gold and opulence when there are people who are starving. You know?
Yeah. Would you ever have a live stream called Time for Tea with Scott and Donna, like a chat show? Don't we do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings? We talk about everything.
And drink tea.
And we drink tea while we're doing it.
But
Scott did
not a bad idea.
He did paint a forest nymph. That was one of the paintings that he showed. That was a forest nymph.
Were they maybe just asking about that painting that I just showed?
It says, did you ever think of painting a nymph?
Oh, did you just... If you want to just rewind about 2 minutes, I just showed a painting of one.
Mm-hmm. Of a forest nymph. Scott's favorite movie is The Princess Bride. Who do you think will win in a fight, Batman or Superman?
Superman. I know people give Batman a lot of credit, and you know, I read Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, but no, I'm sorry.
What paper are you using right now?
This is just a generic kind of hot press watercolor paper.
Have you ever been to Japan? If not, do you want to?
I've never been. I think it would be interesting. I'm not one for big crowds.
Well, and long flights.
Yeah, so it would have to be under unique circumstances, but yeah, I think.
Traveling can be expensive too. Yeah, traveling can be really expensive to do, especially going that far. Yeah, it's a long way to go, and the tickets are very expensive. So it's a money thing too. I feel like my art looks bad right now. Do you have any tips on how to stop that feeling?
No. I wish I did, but I feel like my art feels bad literally right now. I will say this. You're not alone, and pretty much every artist feels that way. And so it just means that you want to improve. And I think that is the best thing. The minute you start feeling complacent about your art, the minute you start feeling like, I'm really good at this, I think it's time to hang it up.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I have tried lavender tea. I don't enjoy it. I've tried a whole lot of tea and a whole lot of tea flavors.
And she has opinions.
I do. I have strong opinions. What's your favorite art series you've done? Like Draw What You See.
I loved the art that came from the hair journal, but I had, I think, the most fun doing 60 Days of Studying the Masters.
That was my favorite too. I am a really small creator. Do you have any tips on how to grow?
Calcium, I think.
Scott.
Is what?
Grow their channel.
Oh.
Not grow in stature. Good grief.
Oh, having strong bones helps. I would say be consistent with your posting. Try to post every day, or at least 5 times a week.
Yeah, consistency is important.
Post what you love to do, and also interact with the people. Talk to people. Respond to the I mean, I have almost 3 million followers across my socials, and I spend a couple hours a day responding on all the different socials to as many of the comments, or at least liking them or whatever that I can. It's work. If this is something that you want to do, you'll put the work in.
Oh, he doesn't know what he's going to paint in his next live stream right now. Oh, God, no. We'll know about 3 minutes before 9 on Friday morning. Have you ever entered into any competitions? If so, how did it go?
Yes, and I did not get accepted into any of them. The only time I did get accepted in one was in high school, and it was for a scholarship for Citibank, and I won $500. I came in 2nd place or 3rd place or something like that.
How do you feel about limited palettes? Do you like them? How would you recommend working with them if that's all you have?
I do for my watercolors. I use a limited palette, but I think you might be talking about like use just red and white and black, and I've never been really interested in something like that.
Do you have any tips for someone that's new to watercolor?
Yeah, work light to dark, and use cold pressed watercolor paper.
Do you think AI will steal jobs from artists?
Oh, absolutely.
Lucy is British and doesn't want Charles as king. Nikki says, I am so sick of the royals, particularly Harry. He's annoying, claims to want privacy, and then goes on to write a book and do 1 million interviews. Do you have the animal crackers poster you painted? If yes, can you show it?
Yeah, it's upstairs.
It's framed.
But you can see it on the book cover, which I have right here.
Yep.
And I painted it really big, so...
Yeah, it's huge. My gouache is very transparent. Is that bad?
It just means that you might be putting too much water in it.
Love the vid. Would love to see some larger landscapes.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever do large landscapes like a Bob Ross type of thing. I don't know if I'll ever do that, but...
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Bugsy Malone?
Oh, with... what's his name? He played Dick Tracy.
I don't know. Oh, Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty. I might have.
Do you like Dragon Ball, and would you make a painting?
Yeah, I used to sketch Dragon Ball all the time. I did like it back in the 90s. I don't know if I would do a painting.
A lot of people want to know...
Actually, I'm sorry. I did do a couple paintings or illustrations for Dragon Ball magazine.
A lot of people want to know what brushes you're using and what brushes you recommend.
I'm not really fond of any brushes. I just started trying the Utrecht brushes.
Mm-hmm. And you liked those.
They're pretty good, yeah, but I've only got a few days into it, so I need a little more time to, feel a little... To know if they're worth it or not.
They stole most of their golden jewels from the countries they invaded.
Yeah.
They did, and there's been a lot of call for them to return.
Same thing with the British Museum, too.
Yep. Actually, the British Museum was in a big brouhaha about some tablets that they stole from somewhere over the years. And, I'm not going to comment.
She's a big fan of the British Museum.
I love the British Museum, but I I have questions. I have questions from some of the countries that the antiquities would go back to. Are you going to put them on display for people? Are you going to destroy them? Are you going to, some of the countries are very volatile. And I think preservation is important. I don't think theft is good by any stretch of the imagination, but I would hate to see something returned to a country and then have it destroyed.
Yeah.
Or have it not be able to be viewed by people who want to see it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take it back, can you please put it in a museum where I can go and see it? Because I think that's important. I think culturally I want to see things from around the world. I want to see...
I think that the flip side of that is, of course, other countries saying, what gives you the right to tell us what to do with our stuff that you stole from us? And
that's true too. But
I know.
To have it on display, to have another countries there's no Assyria. So the Assyrian antiquities would go back to where? Iraq?
Yeah.
Iran,
yeah.
Where
most of the stuff's been shot up.
Exactly.
By Taliban and
exactly.
Whatnot, yeah.
So why would they want to return it to a country
I
where
get
bad
that.
people would destroy things? I don't know. I think I'm huge on preservation of history. Huge on that. Anyway. Saul Goodman said, I was making a piece and I absolutely ruined it by using an eraser over wet paper.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Yeah,
that hurts. Several people have asked if you've used your arms for as a palette or whatever when you're out painting.
Oh God,
somewhere.
no, like to paint on yourself? No.
Mm-mm. Scott, actually, I go and I find napkins or paper towels, or 9 times out of 10 I bring them. So I usually have things in my car or in my pocket. This person says, as a hairy man myself, how does his arm hair not get covered in paint when he paints that close to the palette?
I have paint on the side of my hands, but no, I don't think it's...
You don't typically put your whole arm
I don't usually
down
get my
on
arm
the
that
palette.
close.
Yeah. How did you get that good at this? I should not have left art classes in school and now I'm too busy.
Oh, I promise you this is not good, but thank you. No, it is just practice, of which I am very out of practice. But, I think it was a good exercise, and I don't hate it, so that's not a bad thing, right?
Okay. So we're not going to call ourselves ignorant anymore. Anybody that comes on here and calls themselves stupid or whatever else, I'm going to have you blocked for a minute or two by the mods, because I don't want to hear people talking that way about themselves. I've been having a really hard time lately doing that with myself and feeling like I am not good enough. And I think when you say something like that, I think it perpetuates that in your brain. So we will move on, echo, and we will say Animal Crackers is a film that Scott and I made several years ago, and it is available on Netflix. It is based on a book that Scott wrote for our boys.
So again, I could spend another couple hours just sitting here, tightening up the ears and getting the hair to look really nice.
Mm-hmm. And fixing that nose because it's too bright.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Is a thing of beauty.
Yep.
Matter of fact.
Where's your favorite place you visit? Don't you dare put more pink on the nose.
On the cheeks.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because I love you.
Ugh. Let's see. If I put too much watercolor on the paper, can you just dab it with a paper towel?
Yes.
A lot of people want to know where you find your reference photos.
This person is on this one.
Instagram.
Is on Instagram. Here, I will find their account. Let me go here, and I think it starts.
How would you rate your animated movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
A
15.
solid 6.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's
Would you say Winsor and Newton are the best brands? That Winsor and Newton are the paint brands that Scott uses. Would you say it's the best?
I like it. I wouldn't know. I would have to try every brand to.
And folks, there's a million of them out there.
All right, so I'm just trying to find. Hold on, let me see here.
You also, there's a lot of you that have asked questions about Scott's art supplies. If you go to our website and you go to resources, there is a list there of all of Scott's art supplies that he uses. If we get discounts on some of them, you will see the discounts on there. So click on the discounts so you can get the discount on there. We've converted a lot of them to giving you a discount, and we don't get anything for it, but we want you guys to be able to buy the art supplies. So
here she is.
Use those.
All right, this is their Dugong Lost in Space. But you can see there's a ton of beautiful photos to inspire you. Now, this one is photographed by Grimilde Malatesta, who I really love their stuff. And I get a lot of my inspiration from them as well.
Textile artist, they do make the costumes?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're also a photographer.
Okay.
But yeah, they make wonderful, wonderful costumes. So that looks totally like Valencia, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But those two work together a lot.
Love the necklines on those.
Yeah.
Very intricate.
So,
those are beautiful sleeves.
Yeah. Another good person to follow is this Cunine. And you can see they kind of all work together. You see similar stuff. Some of them use a lot of Photoshop.
Yeah.
Do a lot of heavy editing and whatnot.
What brand of gouache palette do you use?
It is I think it's called a San Francisco Slant, and you can see it in
the resources.
Yeah, in my art supplies list.
Mm-hmm. What do you recommend for a high schooler?
If I can go back in high school and tell myself, I would say stop drawing your original character over and over and over again and start drawing the world around you. Get used to filling up a sketchbook and just drawing the world around you. And you can still draw your original character when you want to, but I'm just saying, but try to draw something original every day.
Are watercolor pencils good for beginners?
No.
What's your favorite painting of an animal that you've done? Thanks for putting the art supply link in, Nixie. Appreciate that.
Hold on.
Jose David, if you go back up too, you'll find the art supply list and you can go around the website from there.
My favorite drawing of an animal.
Be careful you don't put that down.
I mean, I really like this one of Felix, but Ashley's pet Rico.
He was all Rico. Personality, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And hello, my red panda.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Stanley.
Yeah, I think
Andre.
and Z. I think I like this one with Felix.
Talk about if watercolor pencils are good for beginners.
I said no.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like watercolor pencils for I mean you spend all that time doing the drawing and shading and then you add some water and it all goes away. You might as well just grab a paintbrush.
Okay. You got two people that are asking you, how do you get motivated to finish a piece? Especially when it's not coming out how you wanted. And then how do you know when to stop a painting, working on a painting?
This is a 90-minute portrait. I could easily spend another 6 hours on it, making it perfect. Making it like so, exactly the way I want to. And I think you have to decide before you get into something how much time you want to spend on it. Say I'm only going to spend an hour on this, or I'm only going to spend 2 hours on this. Don't just start something with no end in sight. Get in your head what you want. Do you want to make a grand masterpiece and spend 6 months painting it? Do you really want to put that kind of time into something like that? Or do you just want to just draw? And in which case you go, when an hour is up, I'm done. And that's what I'm doing. When the 90 minutes is up, which it is and it has been,
for 15 minutes.
Yeah, you're done. Well, I haven't been painting either, but that's how I would say to do that.
When's the best time to replace art supplies?
When there's a sale.
Like when they dry out, or how long do they last, or this kind of thing?
I've never had my art supplies, the ones that I'm using, dry out or whatever.
That's the difference between professional supplies and not professional supplies.
Well, that's the difference between drawing every day. If you're going to be making art, if you're going to put some money into it. By the way, these are watercolor pencils. I'm just doing.
Now he's noodling.
Yeah, I'm doing this because I'm getting hungry.
Have I tried original English tea? I don't know. Bethany says, very few people are as insane as I am to spend 6 to 12 months on a painting on purpose. That is correct.
Yeah.
How do you get the proportions right for people?
The first thing is always practice, but then the second thing would then be tracing.
Can you give tips for a middle school person? My brother wants to know.
Draw every day. Draw everything every day. Fill up your sketchbook with the world around you.
Do you like cats?
I do. They don't tend to like me.
They do not. Mm-mm. I don't know if Felix liked you, but I think that's just because he wanted to eat you.
Z liked me too.
Yeah, well, Z was 2. He looked at you and went, play date!
Yeah. That's all I want in a spotted leopard or clouded leopard.
Yeah. God. A little boop his nose. Okay. Would you ever go to Texas?
Oh, we've been to Texas before.
Let's see. I have tried Scottish blend tea. And what medium do you recommend for beginners?
Pencil and paper.
Okay, guys. So, the gouache is Winsor & Newton gouache, and we are going to go.
Bye, click.
Yeah. See ya.
We'll see you on Friday.
Yeah, I'll let you answer. Do you have a mentor? And then we will go.
No. I have artists that I look up to, artists that I emulate and I copy, but I've never been one to have a mentor.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and are you going to direct a film again?
I would very much hope so.
We are working on that. All right. So we will see you guys on Friday. And we hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. And thanks for being here with us.